What's on your mind?
No, it's what's on your mind.
What's on my mind?
We have talked in the past, and you have had a lot of ideas on sanctuary cities.
Yes, I have.
Tell us what your thoughts on sanctuary cities are.
Well, there's a lot of aspects to this. And the way I like to approach it is, it's been said that imagination is more important than knowledge. That was said by Albert Einstein. You only can know those things you're aware of. You can't know something you don't know unless you're smoking some really good stuff. So what I would like to do is I would like to take an imaginary trip. You and I. We're going to drive down the streets of Chicago. Get in the car, start her up, going down the street, 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. Now I'm doing 55 miles an hour down the side street in our imaginary trip of Chicago. And pretty soon I see these little blue lights flickering in my rearview mirror. And I pull over to the side. The officer comes out and he says to me, "Sir, do you know how fast you were going?" I said, "Well, of course, officer, I know how fast I was going. I was doing 55 miles an hour. And I was aware of that because I saw these street signs. I kept zooming by. It said 30 miles an hour. The cop says to me, why are you doing 55 miles an hour in the 30 mile an hour zone?" Because I choose not to obey that law. I'm taking the leadership or suggestions from your mayor. Your mayor has come out and said that Chicago is a sanctuary city. So if you're legal and you come here, you don't have to worry about the police or being apprehended or anything. She has chosen not to enforce the law. Well, by the same token, I'm going to make choices as to which laws I want to obey. Now, in this fantasy journey, which has just come to an end, I think it illustrates my point. And that is, you can't really choose which laws you want to obey any more than the mayor can choose which laws to enforce. That's just the way it is. I can't go in and say, "I'm not doing this today because I don't want to." It's fair for the government. It's fair for us. That's their job. Now, I know you're going to come back right away and say, wait a minute, Dan, it's not that simple. And I know you like things that are very simple. It's easier to understand. There's jurisdiction. You have city, and you have the state, and you have the federal government. All these agencies have their various laws, and they don't necessarily have to enforce one another's laws. Well, let me be clear on that. Crystal clear, as they say. When it comes to the safety of my family, my friends, and myself, I don't really give a goddamn whose jurisdiction it is. You think that's of any importance? Do you think that really matters if a member of your family's been killed? Well, I'm sorry about that, but it was the jurisdiction. Here you go. I got a little site you may want to check out. It is called the Remembrance Project. It's a site you can go online and you can see what they have to say about all those individuals who have been killed. It says here, a voice for victims killed by illegal aliens. Now, do you think if Mayor Lightfoot were to call up one of these families and say, "Well, I know your sister was killed and beaten and stuff like that, but you got to understand, it's not our jurisdiction. That's somebody else's jurisdiction." I don't think that's going to fly too well. It's not going to make them feel any better at all. Okay? It doesn't ease the pain at all. This is a problem everyone's addressing and everyone's looking at. Well, what can you do about this? Because we sit here and talk is cheap. All right? What can you do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. As they say, action talks, hot air walks. So I did take some action. And yes, I realize it's only the first step, but I actually wrote a letter to the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. And let there be no misunderstanding here. When she won the election, I couldn't have been happier. She beat the system. She beat the machine. She even beat Daley running for the mayor of Chicago. I thought that was great. However, while I like that, things have to change. And one of them has to be with the sanctuary city situation. This letter, it's like 4 pages, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just let me point out some of the highlights that are in here. Okay, it says at one point, okay, I am aware, okay, about the arguments which are raised regarding the agency. Okay, my opinion is, and I think the law will back me up on this, failure to support any action by any legally authorized body to enforce the law is not acceptable. The rights of the American citizen are your primary concern. We're the primary concern, not the illegals. Their safety is important, but I think we, the taxpayers, should come first. The letter goes on to what I consider to be the main thrust of this particular letter. And that is, and this is a certified letter, folks. Here are the cards you can use. Send out your certified letter to the mayor, which I'm going to want you to do. It says, I am holding you personally responsible and liable for any and all damages incurred by my family. I demand that you equitably enforce all the laws for all the people and abide by your oath of office. The status of sanctuary city must be rescinded. The job of the government is to serve, protect, and maintain order. Letting criminals back out on the street is not anywhere fulfilling any of those obligations. Well, Dan, that was very nice, what I did. What did I get out of this? What was the results of this? Well, I think you pretty much know what the results is, and that is this letter, okay, at 75 cents will get me a cup of coffee at Mickey D's. Why waste your time? Why do this? What's it going to get you? I think it's going to get me as an individual absolutely nothing. However, if we begin to develop this idea, and more people are cognizant of the fact that the individuals at the top have to be held accountable, then we'll get somewhere. Okay, not tomorrow. Okay, it'll take a while, but that's what it's going to take to achieve this particular goal. Okay, you are accountable. We deserve a government that takes care of the people first. And I'm not talking about suing the city. In Texas, there was a recent situation where some individual fell victim to a crime, and they sued the city. And from what my understanding is, now if anyone out there knows anything else, we would be happy to hear it. So I don't know the status, but they're attempting to sue the city. Why? City didn't do anything. Look at the man at the top. He sets the order. He sets the tone. He leads. It's by his leadership that things will be accomplished. Okay? And if you sue the city for, let's say $27 million, I don't know where I'm getting that figure from, doesn't hurt the mayor. He doesn't write the check. The city writes the check. Oh, and by the way, where does the city get that money from? Gets it from the taxpayers. Okay, you have to go after the individuals in charge. I know it's a big order. It's a tall order. We've had a lot of stupid laws in this country, but we've overcome them. Now, what I'd like to do is make something very, very clear to the people watching this, and that is, I view this particular station not as something to talk about, but to motivate people to action. If you want to just sit on your hands and watch what's going on, I strongly recommend you watch another station, another blog, another focus group. We're not for you, okay? Because we're looking for people who want to do things. People get the government they deserve, okay? If you want fantasy, Do you want fiction? Why don't you watch the Disney Channel? Why don't you watch CNN? No offense, of course. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is there's going to be some information at the bottom of the screen listing the telephone number and address for the mayor of Chicago. Write her a letter. I did it via certified mail because now we have documentation that she received it. Okay, start that way. Nothing extraordinary. Okay, just give it a shot and see what happens. We got to start somewhere. Now, in one just parting note, I would like to say when you do this, be professional, be courteous, don't be rude, don't do anything that would agitate people. So we want to be very tactful when we talk about this. I thank you for your time. I thank you for listening to me, and write the goddamn letter.